Hello, everyone. For those on the Zoom meeting, can you please raise your hand if you can hear me properly? Thank you so much. Just an update, everyone. We're waiting for a few more people to join, and we'll be starting in another 5 minutes by 12:05. For those who just joined, we're waiting for some more people to join, and we'll be starting at 12:05 in another 2 to 3 minutes. All right, I think we can get started. We have everyone we were expecting. Um, All right, let me start by introducing myself. Let me try and turn my video on. All right, hi everyone. My name's Mohil Pujara, and I'm a faculty here with EduPristine. I take the financial modeling course, and the reason we're all here today on this Friday afternoon is to just go through the concept of financial modeling and how that can help us in some of our day-to-day activities and the kind of different career options that open up once someone has this skill set in their CV. And in their life. But before we go ahead and start discussing about financial modeling, just a quick background of myself. I'm an MBA in finance from Symbiosis International University. I've gone ahead and done my um, course in advanced analytics for management from IIM Ahmedabad, and then I've been in the industry for about 9 years now. Been creating different types of models, not just related to financial modeling, but even modeling models that are related to marketing decisions and supply chain decisions as well. Um, though the focus for today's class is completely going to be on financial modeling. Um, with that, just a quick check. If you could raise your hands to just show me how many of you all today here are engineers without any background in finance. Can you please raise your hands if you're an engineer without any background in finance? Great. So we have one person here. Looks like everyone else has some sort of background in finance, either through BBA, BCom, commerce, through your job, through your MBA. So that's good to hear. All right, perfect. So let me begin by introducing the topic. We're going to give you an outline of what financial modeling is. Since this is a webinar for EduPristine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to also use the EduPristine program outline to kind of also talk about the different career opportunities and the skill sets that you gain by learning financial modeling. So I'm going to use the program outline. We'll kill two birds with one stone in that way. We'll also get to know what the whole course is about, what are the different topics being covered, and what are the different skill sets being gained. And we'll also learn how financial modeling can help us in our careers. I'll give you some background about EduPristine and then leave you with some contact information, people you can reach out to in case you have any further questions or you want to enroll for the course. So, with that, let's talk about what financial modeling is. Actually, let's keep this interactive. I don't want this to be a monologue, so I'm going to give some of you speaking rights. If anyone has any idea on what financial modeling is, I'd like to hear that. So, I'm going to give some of you some speaking rights. Please let me know if you have any thoughts on what financial modeling according to you is. Why are you here today? What do you think financial modeling is? What is your impression on what financial modeling is? Anyone?
I think financial modeling is actually making a plan with the money you have
Mm-hmm.
to be invested at the right place.
Perfect. Makes sense. But that's finance. What does modeling mean to you?
I think using it in the appropriate manner, uh, in a sustainable fashion. I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Abdullah. Anyone else? Any other impressions on financial modeling?
So, hi Mohil.
Hey, Kaushik. Uma
So,
Kaushik, right?
yes.
Yes.
So, I think financial modeling is about using it to predict the future, using the past financial information of a company to predict the future cash flows of a company.
Okay.
Uh, I think that.
Perfect. That's right. That's one part of financial modeling. I wouldn't say that's the whole thing, but it is a critical part of financial modeling. Yes. Anyone else?
I think it's more like a forecasting tool
Okay.
in terms of performance. It could be performance, it could be price of a share.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah,
Perfect. That's a fair description. All right. Thanks for those who spoke up and gave their views. All answers were right. But financial modeling is a little bit more than what you all said. While what you said is definitely a part of financial modeling, it's not the whole thing. So let me put things into perspective here. Let's split this word into two parts: finance and modeling, right? uh, Most of you here know what the finance means. The finance aspect is basically to predict the share price of a company, to take an investment decision, to take a decision on whether I need to raise funds through debt or equity, to take a decision on whether I want to redistribute the money in the form of dividends or not. Financial decisions are finance part of financial modeling deals with this decision making. In finance, there are certain decisions that we have to take from time to time. Um if I had to categorize these three decisions, the most common decisions: one is investment decisions, where do I put my money, right? The second one is financing decisions, where do I get money from? If I'm looking to raise money, where do I raise money from? Should I raise as a company? Should I raise it in form of debt? Should I raise it in form of equity? Should I is there a third alternative available to me that I can explore? So where do I get the money from? And the third and most important decision, again for corporates, is should I distribute money in the form of dividends, or should I retain them in the business and try and grow the business further? So these are the three main financial decisions that a person, a finance professional, needs to take. And the most common that you'll see is the first one, which is the investment decision, which is, if you're working for a corporate, you need to take an investment decision. For example, you're working for ITC and you need to take an investment decision on whether we should set up a new plant or a factory, whether we should set it up in northern India or southern India, eastern India, western India. Where do we set that up? What makes more sense financially? So if you're in a corporate, you need to take a financing decision. In personal line, investment decision. In personal lives, you need to decide where should I put my money, what company share should I buy, how, that's another investment decision. So people keep making investment decisions, so that's one of the most common form of decisions that are made. So that's the finance part of it. What does the modeling part of it mean? The modeling part is essentially the art of building tools that help you take financial decisions easier and more efficiently. What do these tools mean? Um, these tools mostly are Excel based tools, Microsoft Excel based tools, where you, instead of analyzing financial statements and investments in pen and paper, we can build really elaborate and comprehensive tools in Microsoft Excel, so that um, taking these decisions becomes a lot easier. Building these models uh, is something that does not take a lot of time, but eventually you spend more time. Actually, let me take that back. Let me give you an example. Today in the industry, whether it's a corporate, whether it's an investment bank, whether it's an equity research firm, one of the major skill sets required is the skill set to develop models in Microsoft Excel. Why is it a major skill set required? Because uh, when people don't know Excel, they do all the financial analysis right. The finance of people is really spot on. They know their financial concepts. They will take the right decisions, but they will do it in an inefficient manner. So it will take them, say, a month to build a model where they will then eventually decide whether they want to invest in a particular product or not. When they go with this particular calculation, financial calculation, to their managers, to their clients, and explain the calculation to them, the managers and the clients always have inputs. They will say, all right, let's change a particular assumption and see how that impacts our decision. Now that person needs to go back to the drawing boards again, rework on all the assumptions again, take another month, and then after another month they come back with the updated calculations. Not being able to develop models, and I'm going to explain what models mean in a lot more detail, but not being able to build flexible and dynamic Excel models that can help the user make these changes on the fly or immediately is one of the major skills that is lacking in the industry today. So people are not that well versed with Excel, are not well versed with building models, and hence what they end up doing is spending a lot of time on just running the financial calculations over and over again, where there's a way to automate that entire process and focus more on decision making rather than number churning, where the people are just reworking the numbers over and over again. That's essentially where the whole field of financial modeling comes into picture. That's where financial modeling is very important. um, if I give you some more background, um, why do we use MS Excel? Because MS Excel is one of the most widely used tool in the industry. On this call, every one of you must have heard of what Microsoft Excel is. Most of you would have even used Microsoft Excel, and that's the same scenario worldwide. People have used Microsoft Excel, people are comfortable with Microsoft Excel, and hence Excel's kind of been this go-to tool for developing financial models. The other reason is a lot of the financial data that we need to analyze, like the profit and loss account, the balance sheet, the cash flow, they are all not really heavy on the data. They do not have more than million rows of data. They are, we maybe go into hundreds of rows of data or thousands of rows of data. So Excel is well suited in terms of the size of the data as well. For those who have some technical background may know that as the size of the data increases, as you have more and more rows of data, Excel cannot manage it, and you need to move to other tools like Microsoft Access or SQL, or more, even more advanced tools that can handle big data. But financial modeling and financial decisions do not involve big data. We have information in the form of P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, and some additional things, but all of that is very easily manageable by Excel. um, so that's the reason why we use Microsoft Excel to build our models. I know we spoke about modeling, but if I had to summarize what modeling means, modeling is essentially building a tool in Microsoft Excel where we take certain inputs from the user, we do some processing, and after doing that processing, we give the model gives an output. This output eventually helps the manager in making decisions. The processing bit is something that takes a lot of time. When I say processing, it involves a lot of calculations. So doing these calculations over and over again takes a lot of time. So the field of financial modeling deals with automating this processing part of it, or the calculation part of it, so that when someone comes and changes the inputs, you don't have to rerun the calculations all over again, because you have automated it. If someone comes and changes the inputs, your model updates automatically, and then your output also updates automatically, and you can take a decision. So you spend time in taking decisions. So the whole scale of financial modeling is, how do I go from input to output directly without doing the calculation each and every time, without repeating it. We will have to do it for the first time, but when we do it for the first time, we do it in a way that we don't have to repeat it over and over again. All right. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. Let me get into the different topics that we're going to cover in financial modeling. This course by EduPristine is all about learning how to develop models in Excel that can help us take financial decisions. The first and foremost part that we cover on day one is basics of Excel. All right. Day one is on basics of Excel, because we have a lot of people. Some of you have been exposed to Excel, some of you have not. So, the first and foremost thing for anyone who wants to start modeling is to understand the basics of Excel, because you're going to be working on Excel and build your models in Excel. Some of you may already have experience with Excel. Some of you may not have extensive experience with Excel. The idea of the first session is just to bring all of you on the same page and on the same level when it comes to Excel. Then after that, we start focusing on the finance part, and we start focusing on some finance decisions that we need to make. With that, let me go into the first and foremost field within the financial domain that requires financial modeling as a skill set. That field is called private equity and equity research. So it is essentially researching on equity and how to invest in equity and what valuation to invest in equity. Have any one of you heard of equity research before? What is equity research? Can anyone tell me about that? Does anyone know what equity research means? Okay, let me, yeah, go ahead, please. Is there an answer?
Research is more to do with research on investment and returns from equities.
That's right. That's correct. And what do equities mean? Basic shares of a company.
Yeah.
So if you're planning to invest in shares of a company, either they be through the secondary market, which is markets like BSE or NSE, or they may be through private equity deals. You need to find what the right value of each share is. Let me take a detour here and show you an example. Uh, Open with Microsoft Edge. Perfect. This is an equity research report by a company called HDFC Securities. Now, it is a report on a company called Dabur India Limited. I'm sure most of you would have heard of Dabur India Limited. It's a big FMCG company in India. Its most popular product is honey, Dabur honey. So, and they have a whole range of different FMCG products. Now, and their products are in the hair care segment. They have the Dabur Amla oil. Oral care, they have a lot of toothpastes. Health care, skin care, home care, food, they have a ton of different products. Hajmola is another product that Dabur manufactures. Vatika is another product that Dabur manufacturers. Real fruit juices, these are just some of the major brands that are with Dabur. When we're not getting into deep dive of Dabur here, but I want you to focus on this report by HDFC Securities, which says that the price of a share of Dabur, CMP means current market price, is 327 rupees. HDFC Securities is saying that the price of the share of Dabur is 327 rupees, and you should buy this share at current market price and add on dips. Why are they asking you to buy the share of Dabur? Because they are expecting that the price of the share will grow from 327 rupees to 401 rupees in the next 1 year or 4 quarters. All right. This is a report HDFC Security prepares for its very elite clientele, where it's giving them investment advice, where it's telling them that this company will has a potential upside of about 75 rupees per share. So purchase shares of Dabur, and within 1 year, it will go from 327 to 401. How does HDFC Security get the confidence to go ahead and publish and give to its clients this whole such a strong recommendation that you should go ahead and buy shares? Because there's a chance that the shares may also go down. But why is HDFC so confident that the price will go from 327 to 401? Because they've built their financial model and they've done their entire calculation to arrive at the share price. And then over here, they publish this whole report where they talk about their investment rationale and why one should invest in this particular company. Uh, in doing so, there's a financial model that goes behind this. Guys, just give me 1 second. All right, thanks. So we need to look at a model. All right. So let me show you a model that goes behind building or creating recommendations like this. This is another model for another company, but we usually, in order to come up with recommendations on equity research, we build models where uh, we take certain inputs in the form of assumptions. We take some of the core financial statements, P&L, balance sheet, uh, cash flow, and we build this whole valuation where we look at what is the estimated share price. I am not going to go into the model today, but you see, building a model and coming up with a share price requires you to build so many sheets and do so many calculations. Now, what if your manager came to you and said that जो soap है ना इस कंपनी का, उसका growth rate won't be 5%, the price of soap will grow by 10% instead of 5%. Now, you will have to go and redo all the calculations again, right? All the sheets will have some or the other impact, and it will probably take you hours and hours to go and redo all the calculations again to reflect this one change that your manager comes and tells you. What if the prices of soap were to grow by 10% and not by 5%? But we've built a model in such a way that if you go back and notice, the share price has automatically updated itself from 28. I don't know if you noticed this before, but before I changed that assumption, the share price was 28. Now it is 51. So the a change that we make in the initial sheet automatically flows through all the different sheets and gives me an updated share price assumption. So that's what this whole field of modeling is. What I'm showing you right now is a financial model for an equity research work where we want to try and estimate the share price of a company. What is the fair value of a company? What do they do then? If the fair value of the company is higher than what the company is trading for in the stock market, they give a buy recommendation. If it is lower than what the price of the company is in the share market, they give a sell recommendation. That's kind of how it works. But this whole thing is a model where we build different sheets to do different financial calculations, and we build them in a very flexible and dynamic way by using formulas, so that any change in the first sheet will directly show me the output in the last sheet. I don't have to redo any calculations again. That's the basic idea of modeling. I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information, but I hope you're getting the crux of what I'm trying to explain over here. So, what we do at EduPristine is we spend about 4 sessions just building a equity research model like the one that I showed you, so that you know how to use finance as well as Excel skills to build a model that can eventually help take financial decisions, where here the decision to be made is whether I should invest in the stock of a particular company or not. All right. And like the model you saw is pretty elaborate. We spent 5 sessions on just learning how to build a model similar to that with all the details. Because if you don't build a robust model, your price target will be wrong. If your price target is wrong, you will end up investing in the wrong company, which is something that we should not be doing. So that's kind of the whole section on equity research. So that is one career option that opens up if you have the skill of financial modeling, where you will be able to build models like these and enter into industries that get this kind of work done. Any questions still here? Anyone, any questions still here, or should I move on to the next industry that opens up if you have the skill of financial modeling? All right. The next important field within financial modeling is project finance. Project finance is essentially investment decisions that you take while before investing in a project. A project usually refers to a long term infrastructure project, like building a metro in a city, building a road highway, building a BRTS, rapid transport system, building a railway network, building um, anything. So a project is infrastructural projects which usually have a very heavy upfront investment. It, for example, I'm based out of Pune right now, and we have a metro development that's going on in Pune for the last about 5 to 6 years now. Now, and it's probably going to take another 2 years before it finishes. So building metro in a city like Pune took about 8 years, where you are continuously making investments for 8 years. You are spending money on contractors, you are spending money on consulting companies, you're spending money on people, you're spending money on raw materials. 8 years, initial 8 years is just spending money. But once the metro is live and people start using it, you start earning revenues out of this huge investment that you've made for 8 years, and another 8 years, and you'll recover it and start making a lot more money than you've invested, and hence you'll be profitable. But how does a company decide how much should it invest, whether it should go ahead and invest in a particular project or not? And now I'm not just talking about these long term infrastructure projects, but even short term projects. For example, I used to work for a company called Vodafone, which is now called Vodafone Idea. And I used to work in I used to be involved in taking decisions like, where should we install a network? Now don't hold me responsible if you don't get network in your area, but investing or laying network, or a site or a tower is an investment of 75 lakh to 1 crore rupees, right? As a finance professional, my job is to see whether I should invest uh, in putting a site in a particular area or not, which again depends on whether I'll get enough customers in that area or not. If I end up putting a site in this very rural area where there are no people staying, it's going to be a waste of 75 lakhs to 1 crore. Instead, I should put that site in areas where there are people who want to use the services and will help earning revenues for the company. So how do we make that decision? Based on some financial models where we see what is the cash outflow, what is the resultant cash inflow, and uh, whether the cash inflow is higher than the cash outflow. Only when then are you making money, right? And those kind of decisions are project financing decisions. We will build models and dashboards in project finance, similar to this, where we'll have different scenarios, because here you're right now in 2021 forecasting for 2030. Some of you said we believe forecasting, right? Because your metro system is going to go live in 2030, even though you're making investment in 2021. So you're forecasting for the future. Now when you're forecasting for 2030, you don't know what the market is going to be at that time. So you take different assumptions, you create different scenarios. If scenario 1 is true, what will happen? If scenario 2 is true, what will happen? If scenario 3 is true, what will happen? And we take decisions based on scenarios. We build a dashboard that helps making decisions easier and helps us know what the key project parameters in terms of NPV of the project, IRR of the project, payback period of the project, exit value of the project. These are important things. People without a financial background may not be completely familiar with them. Some of you might be, but we teach all these decision parameters and how do you decide whether you want to go ahead and make an investment of crores of rupees or not. These are some very important parameters to consider. So that's the second career option that opens up, uh, if you know financial modeling, because you need to build models that help take decisions, and you need to build models that are flexible, dynamic. If you want to look at any particular scenario, if you want to build your own scenario, you should be able to do that. Otherwise, all these calculations, like I said, will take days to run over and over again. And if someone asks you to change one single assumption, you'll have to go back, do everything again, and come back to them. Here you can do it in that meeting itself. So one of the assumption is capital expenditure. If someone tells me I don't want a capital expenditure of 90, I want a capital expenditure of $120 million, how does that impact my NPV? So here it gets updated automatically, and my NPV IRR get updated based on that assumption on the fly. Within 10 seconds, I was able to update the whole calculation and show you the output. And now let's talk decisions. Let's talk what should we do, right? Rather than just focusing on redoing calculations, we now spend more time in decision making. So that's the second career option that opens up. The third career option that opens up is in the field of investment banking or mergers and acquisitions. In the field of mergers and acquisitions, we will typically look at, um, let me show you another example. Um, Open with Edge. You must have heard of this company called Microsoft. Most of you use Microsoft products, and most of you are on this platform, social media platform called LinkedIn, which is a professional networking platform. Microsoft announced that it is acquiring LinkedIn in 2016. Uh, Let me go through the deal. Here, Microsoft announced, and this is in Jan 2016, that Microsoft will acquire LinkedIn for $196 per share in an all cash transaction valued at approximately $26 billion. Now, as a finance professional, some of the questions you are asked are: how did Microsoft determine that it should pay $26.2 billion for LinkedIn? How did it determine that it should be an all cash transaction and not a cash and stock transaction? How did they determine that it should pay $196 per share? And mind you, at that time, the shares for LinkedIn were trading at 130 rupees per share. So, how did Microsoft decide it is okay to pay $196 per share? It is okay to pay $26 billion. It is okay to do an all cash transaction. All of these decisions are driven by financial analysis that goes in the back end. What we try and teach you in this course is how to go ahead and value merger and acquisition deals. How does Microsoft decide what value it should pay for LinkedIn? And what is the concept of EPS accretion? Because that's eventually what's going to be the most important thing, along with certain qualitative aspects like how will LinkedIn help Microsoft in growing its business? Are there synergies between both of them or not? So on and so forth. But essentially, another field that opens up if you know how to build models is the field of investment banking, where you help different companies with mergers and acquisitions and help answer questions about the deal. So that's another field that opens up. And then the course, we spent last 2 days of the course on something called modeling for a globally listed company. What we do here is a completely hands-on exercise where we go, you will be given a company. For example, one of the company we do is Accenture. We'll be giving you Accenture. You will have to go and create a model for Accenture from scratch and come and give us recommendation on whether one should purchase shares of Accenture or not. So that's kind of the whole idea here. And along with that, there are certain sessions where we deal in advanced Excel, where we deal with macros, writing macros to be able to build dashboards like these, where you click on a button, a pop-up comes up. This is all not possible in native Excel. We'll have to write macros for it. How to add checkboxes so that the moment you select or deselect something, it appears or disappears from the graph. These are all things that happen using macros. So we're going to spend some good amount of time understanding and learning macros. We're going to understand how to build charts, because not just doing the calculation but also presenting your findings is very important, and infographics are a better way of presenting information than tables and data and number. So how do we build different charts or graphs in Excel to show the true meaning of data and help visualize what the data means, is something that's very important, and we'll be spending some time on that. And we'll also be spending some time on advanced Excel functions, because as you would have noticed by now by looking at the examples I showed you, Excel is the key to building these financial models. So you need, while you need knowledge of finance, you will also need knowledge of modeling, and Excel is what's going to help you build that knowledge in modeling. So it's a 14-day course, and each day means a 5-hour session on each day. So total, it's a 70-hour course that you need to do to master this art of financial modeling. And once you master the art of financial modeling, I've shown you some financial content. These are the different options that open up to you in investment banking. If you're doing mergers and acquisitions, in equity research, if you're helping companies figure out whether they should invest in Dabur or not, in commercial banking jobs, if if you've heard of people in ICICI Bank or HDFC Bank, they one of the important parts of banks is to give loans to corporates. How do they determine whether they should lend to a particular corporate or not, and what interest rate should they lend money to them at, and are they sure that they will receive the repayment? So commercial banking also use a lot of financial models to take all those decisions. How do we analyze IPOs and FPOs, private equity and venture capitalists, capital investing? How do we work with project management? How do we work with corporates like Vodafone and take investment decisions on whether I should put a site, where should I invest the 1 crore on a site? Things like that are all questions that can be answered by this one skill set of financial modeling. Um, that's kind of it. So what skills are required to build a financial model? We spoke about this. First is basic finance skills. You need to know your basic finance. You need to know quantitative and mathematical ability, because we'll be working with a lot of numbers, and your comfort with numbers is very important, which will help you build during the course. And then there's qualitative aspects on business, because understanding the business is as much important as understanding the numbers and the finance, because your understanding of the business will help you know what assumptions to take for the future. Another skill set required is Microsoft Excel. And yeah, that the combination of all these are very important. One more skill that is needed is communication skills, being the ability to communicate your findings, the ability to communicate your rationale for recommending whether we should invest in a particular stock or not, is again something that's very important. So these are some of the skills that are required to build financial models, and we'll be focusing on these during the course as well. For those participating in the course will receive a certificate of participation. It's a certificate of participation that is given by EduPristine and BSc, that you have attended the course, which is very valuable to have, because it's a recognized certificate within the industry. People who have done this course, it's kind of a stamp that this person is certified financial modeler and can build financial models like the ones that we just saw. In addition to this, there's something called a certificate of excellence, which is you will have to give a test, and if you clear that test, you are provided with a certificate of excellence, which has a higher value in the industry compared to the certificate of participation, because it also is a testament to the fact that you've not only attended the course, but you've understood everything and passed a test with flying colors. And that gives it a lot more weightage. And because it's even with BSc, which is a very reputed institute in the country, it just adds a lot more credibility to the whole skill set that you've acquired. Um, about EduPristine, so let me give you some background on what EduPristine is, who are the founders of the company, and why EduPristine is one of the pioneers in this course of financial modeling in India. So EduPristine essentially was founded by Indians, was founded by people who are from the investment banking industry, who've been on the side of business and realized that there was this huge lack of skill set that existed in people who are graduating from college and entering the corporate world. People who are already in the corporate world do not have the skill set. So EduPristine eventually was founded by people who knew that this is a major lacuna in the gap between the education system and what the industry needs. And hence this course was decided as a complete hands-on course for people to get real life skills that they can implement on the job from day one. This is kind of an on the job training, which is also given to a lot of corporates and people in corporates, because this is not any theory session that we teach you. This is actual what needs to be done on the job is what is taught here. um, a year or two back, EduPristine was acquired by this global education institute called Adtalem, which is headquartered in the United States and is a $3 billion company with a lot of different courses and in a lot of different locations. It has a lot of students every year that come out of the institute. And EduPristine, it kind of acquired EduPristine, which is a leading training provider in accounting and finance in the country. In fact, EduPristine was the pioneer of the financial modeling course in the industry. We started with it, and then other companies caught on to it. Um, and EduPristine has a strong online and classroom training platform, huge network of alumni, operations in 6 cities, a faculty pool of 600 plus industry experts. Most of EduPristine's faculty is going to be people who work in the industry from Monday to Friday. So all your sessions usually take place on a Saturday and Sunday, because that's when the pool of faculty have time to come and take 5 hours of sessions. So but these are people who actually work in the industry, so the skill sets you're learning are real, and it's not from just a theory standpoint. And then there's soft skill training and 100% job assistance that is also provided. Like I said, communication skills are very important, because you not only need to know the technical aspects of it, but you also need to go and communicate results to your clients, to your stakeholders, to your managers. And doing that requires a certain amount of finesse in your communication. So EduPristine also provides soft skill training along with this course. And that soft skill training is also very important for your interviews, because when you go in interviews, your skills on communication become that much more important. And EduPristine also provides 100% job assistance. Here's some details on the soft skill training. um, it helps you gain proficiency in speaking with a fair degree of confidence, preparedness, and clarity. Uh, Makes you aware of your own strengths and areas of management. Um, will help you communicate with clarity, openness, and reason. Understand the impact your communication has on others, and will help you develop presentation skills, feedback skills, inquiry skills, so on and so forth. Um, in terms of the support provided by EduPristine will provide you support in terms of giving you access to a learning management system, which is called the LMS. This is a system where you will have all the pre-read materials for a session. You will have all the class content. You will have PDF, Excel file, case studies, finance documents, Excel documents, formulas, everything in the LMS. You will even get a recording of the sessions on your LMS, and you can ask questions in the LMS too. Then, if there are any course queries, there are discussion forums that have been set up where you can go and ask your questions, and it will be answered by a faculty within 24 business hours. In case you face any difficulties with anything, you can always reach out to the EduPristine point of contact or write an email to care at EduPristine. They are very responsive, and they will always try and solve your questions as soon as possible. And you will keep getting updates on seminars, webinars that are taking place, so you can attend and keep upskilling yourself. um, yeah. So along with this, the faculty, I think, is the USP at EduPristine, because the faculty are people who are actually working in the industry and are teaching you real stuff that you'll implement from day one. um, the average rating of a faculty at EduPristine is 4.6 by 5. So if any faculty gets poor rating from the students, they are replaced, and from the very next session you'll see a new faculty who will be much better if that faculty is not working out for you. But over time, EduPristine's developed such a strong pool of faculty that all the faculties have a very strong rating, and everyone's really good at teaching. So that is kind of the USP of EduPristine right now. In terms of placement assistance, a lot of companies, and let me show you, these are some of the companies EduPristine has delivered trainings to in the past. So these are companies: KPMG, ENY, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Credit Suisse, HDFC. These companies have come to EduPristine and said that your financial modeling course is very helpful, and we want our employees to go through it. So these companies also then recognize that EduPristine has a strong pool of students that are not employees but are looking for jobs. So whenever there's an opening in these kind of companies, they reach out to EduPristine, seeking people for financial modeling. That is when EduPristine will take resumes of people in the financial modeling batch and send it to them and help you with the placement process. uh, they will also help you with resume building so that your resume is really polished and you get shortlisted for the companies. They will help you with interview preparation so that you can crack the interview, and they will also help you in providing placement leads so that whenever there's a lead from these top banks, you know that they are looking for people and you can apply for it. And since they know that you already have a skill set in financial modeling, your chance for selection becomes that much more higher. When I say placement assistant, this does not, however, mean placement guarantee. Placement guarantee is saying that you will have a financial modeling job at the end of the course. That's something we don't do. We will take you to the pond and take you to where the fish is, but you will have to do the fishing yourself. So what EduPristine is good as is it has really good industry connections where it can get you interviews, but you need to go and crack the interview, which in my opinion is easy to do if you do the course and if you know in and out of what we've taught in the course. If you're diligent enough, do the course with 100% diligence, then cracking the interview is not going to be a big task there. uh, Along with some companies, EduPristine has also delivered trainings in some top colleges. University of Singapore, IIM Calcutta, FMS Delhi, NISM, IIM Indore, IBS, BITS, IIT Delhi. These are some of the colleges that have called EduPristine and for training of the students. So that's kind of a background on EduPristine. So just to summarize it, it's going to be a 14-day class, 70 hours, which will teach you equity research, investment banking modeling, corporate finance, commercial banking, project finance, and a lot of different skill sets in finance. So 14 days of exhaustive classroom trainings. You will get all the Excel workbooks and you will do it on the fly, so it's hands-on learning. So you will need a laptop, you will need Excel in your laptop to be able to attend the course and do all the create all the models side by side. All the lectures will be recorded and will be also posted online, so that if you have any questions after a lecture is finished, you can always go back to the recordings and review the recordings again to uh, clarify any doubts that you had. In addition to this, if you have any other doubts, there's a support portal where you can always go and access the discussion group to ask the question and get answers to your question. EduPristine is also running this program where if you register for a program today, um, and for some reason you miss a particular class, you can rejoin that class in one of the future batches as well. So for the next 1 year, if you miss any classes, you can attend the same class with future batches as well for the any time within the next 1 year. So that's a very cool thing, because even if you want revision of a particular topic, you can always attend a future batch and get revision of the same topic that you've studied. You'll get comprehensive study notes, you'll get the certification, and we'll use a case study approach. These are all things that we've already covered. So that's kind of an overview from my side. I know we have about 7 minutes left, but I'm happy to take any questions now. Anyone, any questions, feel free to unmute yourselves and ask your questions. We also have a chat or a Q&A pane where you can put down your questions.
Hello.
Hey Alex, you had a question?
Yeah, I just was wondering about the learning management system. Does it have pre-recorded sessions?
So there are two options from my understanding. There's one option to enroll for an online course, uh, where you'll have pre-recorded sessions and it'll be like a self-paced module. You can go through the recordings and self-pace your learning. And then there's another option where you can attend live sessions like the one that we have right now. Because of COVID, we've not started classroom sessions yet, but we'll start them soon once this situation stabilizes. But classes like these where a faculty is teaching you live, and if you have any questions you can get them clarified on the same meeting or on the same at the same time, and those recordings then get uploaded to the LMS. So both these options exist.
My question was in case we want to.
Sorry, I've muted the disturbance. Can you say
Hello.
that again, please? Yeah, can you say that again?
I was just wondering, if you could see the what.
I lost you there. If you could see the
No, if you could watch the pre-recorded sessions or what we are learning, and then come
yeah.
for a live class, it would have made more sense.
Oh,
For those people who had the time, of course.
yes. I think that should be an option that can be made available. I'm a faculty here, so I may not have the complete details about the ins of EduPristine. So if you can talk to the coordinator you've been in touch with, or after this session, a coordinator will get in touch with you, if not already. And if you could ask this question to them, I think they can work something out for you.
Okay. So my
Yes.
second question was, where is the real money in this particular course for a person who's a little experienced in
Hmm.
sales
Right.
and also has done business analytics,
Right.
has done the dashboard building and things like that. May not be an expert to that extent as
Right.
you might be preparing them to be.
Right.
But let's say you have these. Where is the money? Basically, which industry or where is the money for a person who wants to do something on his own?
Oh, so uh, essentially, there are different fields. Now, for experienced people, there are different kinds of people with experience as well, right? There are some people that we get that have their own independent consultancies, and they want to start also getting into financial consulting, where they build models and help take investment decisions for their clients. So people on the side will build financial models and roll out investment advice based on the models that they've built to the clients and whether they should invest in a particular scheme or not. They also build financial models to help clients raise money from the banks. A lot of clients don't know how to raise money from the banks, so there are these businesses that people have set up where they build the model, go to the bank, convince them of the financials of the company, show them the different scenarios, and help get loan approvals for clients. So that's kind of an independent field. For people who are doing a job, this has always been an added skill set to the job, and the job can be in either a corporate, it can either be with an equity research firm, it can either be with a investment banking firm or a commercial bank. I'll also tell you where this course may not be helpful. If you're helping analyzing individual investments, like is this a mutual fund I should invest in? We don't do that. We don't teach that in financial modeling in this
Right.
course particularly. So that's something that this course won't teach you. Individual investment for retail investors is not going to be a part of it.
So it's primarily for institutions or large scale
Corporates, yeah.
corporates or HNIs who want
Yes,
to invest in a project or something or get a loan for the project.
that's correct. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be analyzing companies and finances of companies and big projects and everything, but we won't be doing individual retail investments and all of that. There's a completely different field for that. So we stay away from that right now.
Sure. So what is the advancement of this particular course? Does it go into MBA finance is the next step or is it a CFA? What
Well,
exactly?
Well, it's different for different people. There are some people who already have a BBA and an MBA, but are looking for a job switch because after the MBA, they somehow landed in a job that they did not really fancy in the first place. So, this is a skill set that they gain and then they apply for jobs that are more of their area of interest. For some people, they do it along with their MBA, some people do it along with their CFA, but there's this whole synergy with this whole bunch of different career aspirations, but people mostly do it for switching careers from one field to another, or making use of it in their own career that they're in right now.
Sure. Because Excel is anyway useful in multiple
Yes,
domains.
exactly. And we get students that are 18 years old, and we also get students that are 50 years old. 50 years old are usually CAs who've been doing things manually so far, but they realize now that they need to switch to models to be more efficient. So we get a whole range of spectrum of students, and everyone has a different motivation.
Super. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, how does financial modeling help in preparing portfolio management?
It does not. So it does, like this course specifically does not. For portfolio management, there's a whole different field that deals with portfolio and investment management, but we don't cover that in this particular course. If you're asking me a generic question, if financial modeling can help in that, it definitely can. When you're doing portfolio management, a host of ratios become important, like the Sharpe ratio and the returns ratio and everything. We can build Excel models to analyze the ratios and shortlist the top investments where we should put our money. Again, it will take inputs like what is the risk appetite of the individual. Based on that, it will figure out how much to invest in equity, how much to invest in debt, how much to keep as cash, how much to invest in gold, how much to invest in real estate. All those recommendations come out based on the inputs you give to the model. And after that, they also give which is the best scheme to invest in. So financial modeling for portfolio management is a field, it exists, but is not a scope for this particular course.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Let me take a look at the Q&A pane as well. Um, Apeksha Mandhan asks a question: what kind of packages are offered in these jobs? So the packages are usually, from what I've seen, minimum of 6 lakhs at an entry level. Depends on the company, of course. If you're someone who's getting into a JP Morgan, then JP Morgan provides a starting package of 25 lakhs. But I'm guessing not everyone is someone that also fits the shortlisting criteria for JP Morgan, but all the basic firms at least give a package of 6 lakhs to begin with. But it's a high growth sector. So I've personally know of cases when I graduated from my MBA, my batchmates who went into the equity research space were given a package of 5 lakhs at that time, but they went to 22 lakhs within 2 years. After two appraisal cycles, their package went to 22 lakhs, which was also a factor of the fact, which was also partly because they did an amazing job on equity research. But usually the minimum band is around 6 lakhs these days, where the entry level people get 6 lakhs. All right. any any other questions, guys? Priyanka asks a question: is this course helpful for student who has a BCom background? It definitely is. We get a lot of BCom, BBA, MBA, CA students in the course. So it's going to definitely be helpful for people from a BCom background. All right. Any other questions? If not, oh, sorry, there's one more. Will it help me get a job or internship if I'm a fresher BCom graduate without any work experience? Yes, it will. It will definitely help in uh, fresher roles. Like I said, the starting package of the example that I gave you, where the starting package of 5 lakhs was offered, that friend was a fresher. So freshers are usually also preferred in this industry because companies can train them and ramp them up based on their culture and based on their processes. It's a lot easy to train freshers than people who maybe have a baggage of work experience. So like you, every company needs a mix of freshers as well as people with work experience, and that's how synergies are created. So there is sufficient and ample room for freshers in this industry as well. All right. Uh, any other questions, people?
One last question about the mergers and acquisition.
Hmm? Yes.
What exactly is the rule? I mean, financial modeling does.
Oh,
I'm not clear about that part.
so I showed you the example of Microsoft and LinkedIn, right? Um, when Microsoft decides to acquire a company like LinkedIn, what Microsoft needs to do is check whether it's going to get financial benefits from the deal or not. Only then will you go and make the deal. Acquiring a company is a beast. So LinkedIn has its own operations, its own profit and loss, its own balance sheet, everything. When we do an analysis from a financial standpoint, we will take Microsoft financial standalone and we will see where are they going. And it's probably giving a return to equity holders of about 30% per annum. And then we take LinkedIn standalone, analyze where LinkedIn is going, and LinkedIn is probably giving a return of 35% per annum to shareholders. Now, what Microsoft needs to do is create a combined business financials where they combine the financials of LinkedIn and Microsoft, and then see how will the combined company grow. For Microsoft, if the combined company, there are just going to be so many increased cost and so much headache that the combined company starts growing at 25%, the investors of Microsoft are going to come and say, boss, I was growing at 30%, and because of the deal now I'm making lesser money. Now I'm getting 25%. So how do you check if after the merger and acquisition, is it going to be financially beneficial for you, or will you end up losing money? Because you don't want to acquire a company where you end up paying $26 billion for the company and end up making no money from it, right? So that's kind of the modeling that we do for M&As. Ashwini, it would be great if you can check the course fees with the EduPristine coordinator. I don't know if you have one on the line right now. Madhuri, do you want to take the question on course fees?
Yes, Mohit.
Yeah.
So Ashwini, the course fees for the live virtual classes is 32,500 and the self-based package is 23,100 with 1 year validity. Ashwini?
Yeah, got it, ma'am.
Yeah. So after the seminar, even our course counselor will definitely call each and every student who's attending the same. So we're starting a batch now on 20th of June, the new batch. Okay. So it is
Because
every
right now
Saturday.
I'm work. So one more
Sorry?
question. Do we have a comfortable batch timing? Because right now I'm working in a bank. As you know, it'll go up to maybe the split us. It may go up to 7:30. Due to amid
Okay.
COVID, I'm just working up to 2:30. Maybe it might change after a week.
Acha. So the batch timing what we have is only every Saturday, Sunday, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. So this is the only timing what we have because maximum candidates who attend the trainings are working professional, Ashwini. Apart from this, the faculties also are working professionals, maximum. Okay. So in case, as Mohil said earlier, in case if you end up missing something, then definitely we will be, you will be having the video recording of the session with you.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
And it starts at 3 p.m. after 3 p.m. on a Saturday and Sunday both. So that is probably after bank hours. So you should be able to make it on most days. But if there's some days where you have additional workload, you can always catch up using the recordings.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? If not, this was all we had, guys. Feel free to drop off. I think for people who are not comfortable asking questions in a large audience, I'll be happy to stay back for a couple of minutes more. So if there are any questions, just stay back and we can discuss them. But thank you so much for your time, everyone. Hope to see you during the class and hope it was informative to you regardless. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Mohil. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Hey, Umang Kaushik, you have a question?
Yeah, hi. So
Yeah,
actually,
sure.
like, what are the like? How can we have? How can we expect the placement opportunities in FP&A sector, like financial planning and
Yes.
analysis sector?
Yes. there is immense potential in the FP&A sector as well. FP&A people are required to develop models very regularly and frequently, because FP&A does a lot of reporting, and also analysis on where to invest what money. So this course will give you that background to be more efficient in the FP&A sector. In terms of jobs, if there are any leads from the corporates, EduPristine will definitely forward that to you, and we do get leads from corporate for the FP&A team, so they'll get forwarded to you. But entering that field will be easier after this course.
So basically, like I have done my MBA Finance in Institute of Public Enterprises, Hyderabad. You might know it.
Yes.
So
Okay.
when I got placed at Franklin Templeton,
Okay.
so currently, like I'm looking for for a role change because I'm working on investment operations side, like back end operations.
Right.
So like I was like I at the start of my career, like they were like they will give me a finance role, but they push me to investment operations. So I was like,
Okay.
okay, just let me learn it completely and then try to shift it
Yes.
another. So like I am actually looking. So can you like suggest me any other than this, any other courses like which help me?
So this course will definitely be helpful for you. Otherwise, I think what you can also do is look at some courses on Coursera. I think there are a couple of good courses over there. um, what I think, once you have the skill set, I have had a couple of similar situations to you in the past, where people are working for big financial institutions and want to switch from one area to the other. My honest recommendation there is, you need to build the right contacts within your company with your manager. You need to build the relationship and let them know that your eventual objective is to move to the front end team, where you are actually in the finance team, and talk to them, create a plan with them, and also tell them how you're upskilling yourself. Try get it funded by your organization if possible. Or a lot of our clients are also people who are funded by corporates, so that should also be another option. And then third, you should also within your company look at different openings. I'm sure there's a IJP, internal job posting,
Yeah,
and talk to the manager in whose team the openings are, and check with them what kind of skill sets you need to join their team. So these are some of the things I think you can start doing at your end.
sure.
All right.
Thank you, Moel, for your
Awesome.
insights.
No worries. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye bye. Here, Ashwini, Dipali. Any questions? All right. If not, I'll be ending the call now. Thank you so much for your participation. Bye, guys.